a lot of people, when they hear Expedia, they think OTA. And no offense, Roni, but Optimove doesn't quite have the brand power of Expedia. So maybe, Roni, perhaps starting with you, perhaps you can tell us a bit about what Optimove does.
Sure. So Optimove is a science-first relationship marketing hub. And basically what that means is we empower the marketing organization to really leverage their data and understand what is the best way to communicate with each one of their customers in a very emotionally intelligent manner. We do that by building a bespoke customer segmentation model for each one of our clients, which is what my team is in charge of. And we work with brands like lastminute.com, Go Compare, Sweaty Betty, River Island, and many more.
Okay, and what we'll do, Roni, just to, that was quite a lot of jargon there, so what we'll do in a minute, I'll ask you for a few use cases if I can,
sure.
just to put it all into context, thanks. And Anselmo, Expedia is a household name. Not everyone knows what Expedia Partner Solutions does, so perhaps you can tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to say that Expedia Group is kind of a mothership of many brands. You have brands like Hotels.com, Expedia for itself, the website, HomeAway, and under this mothership, there's a B2B brand, which is Expedia Partner Solutions. And what we basically do is we have an API to sell Expedia inventory.
We have an API to
sell Expedia inventory.
Sell Expedia inventory, okay.
So my work, especially inside Expedia Partner Solution, is to run all the data technology, and that implies dealing with the millions of calls we have every day to our API and making sure that data is available for consumption internally and to deliver insights.
Right, so let's make sure I understand that. So Expedia Partner Solutions has an API. You'll connect to other travel companies and so they can sell Expedia inventory.
Exactly.
Yeah, got that? Good, okay.
Absolutely.
So your customers are actually other travel businesses?
Other partners, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Your partners. Roni, you talked about creating marketing hubs for your customers. Give me some examples of what you've done so we can put that in context.
Sure. So the way we start off is, like I said before, is we model the different customer personas that are found within one of our clients' database.
So the first thing you have to do is actually do some analytics on a client's database.
Exactly. We take in all the behavioral data, understand the different the different behavioral patterns, the unique customer personas. Then based on that, we can start interacting with each customer in a very emotionally intelligent way. Now, what happens after that is because we understand we have so many different types of customer personas, we're constantly sending more and more communications and we're becoming more granular. There's quite a lot of different communications that we're sending out on a daily basis. Now, we always want to understand which communications work better than others, what are some opportunities that we want to be able to find, but since there's so much happening, so many campaigns we sent, it's hard to really find those pain points or those opportunities. So one of the use cases that we have is we have something that we call OptiBot. So basically, it's an AI that constantly scans your marketing activity. And instead of you going in every day, checking out all the different campaigns you're sending out, it finds these valuable opportunities for you and then helps you in sort of a one-click really enhance your marketing activity. And some specific use cases of that would be, for example, if we have an A/B test campaign that is running. We have quite a lot of those, but there might be one specific one that one action always outperforms the other. Then an Optimove will just let you know, here's a campaign that has much more potential, have all the customers that receive this campaign receive the winning action. Another example could be we might see a campaign that is always generating a very nice uplift. We'll be very satisfied with that campaign. We're not going to want to change it in any sort of way. But what we might actually find is that there's a subset of the people that receive that campaigns. They are the ones that are responsible for generating that uplift. Meaning that if we look at that full customer group, there's much more potential there. But we wouldn't necessarily find that unless we, again, go in manually and dig into every single campaign and its results. And then that basically will just have some sort of insight that will pop up to the marketing team, and they'll be able to act upon it in a very, easy manner.
So you're using artificial intelligence then to, or I suppose machine learning is a subset of that, to actually improve your customers' segmentation.
Exactly.
And looking for little patterns and nuggets where you can say, these few customers actually responded very well to a campaign. Now we want to find similar customers and make that a better segment.
Exactly, I understand. There might be some customers that we think we communicate in a way that's appropriate for them, but there might be a more beneficial way to do that.
Does that rely on your travel company customers then creating the right campaigns to trigger action from those segments? And do you get involved in creating those campaigns, or are you just about the segmentation?
So the idea is once you have that model that really lays out to you the different customer personas that you have, you right away as, a creative marketing person, you know what will be, you have a hunch of what will be the best way to communicate with each small group. Now, I think it's important to say that the right campaign today is not necessarily going to be the right campaign for this customer tomorrow. So the idea is to constantly, test what you're sending out, constantly see the results, and then basically just help the marketer focus on even something might be that's the best communication today. With time, we might need to, change that. We don't want to have any, campaign fatigues with our customers and so forth. So it's a good way to kind of lay out what's happening, understand where you want to focus, and then keep on adjusting based on your customer's behavior.
Okay. And by the way, everybody, if you want to ask questions, just type them to Slido or put your hand up and we'll use a microphone in the old-fashioned way, whichever you prefer. So you just do that. So then I'll come to you in a minute, Anselmo. Let's stick with Roni for a minute. So tell me about implementations you've done where you've actually analyzed one of your customers' customer database, and you've tried to segment, and actually it hasn't gone well, and you've had problems.
And we've had problems.
Let's hear about how it goes wrong.
So I wouldn't say it goes wrong, but I would say that
maybe it doesn't go wrong, it disappoints perhaps.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to understand is that we help the marketing organization make the most out of their data. But where things might be a bit disappointing if, the partner on the other hand does not have the capacity or the resources to take that on. At the end of the day, we give you the insights, we give you the interesting groups, we help you where to focus. But if no action is being taken, you're not going to see, the ROI of that. So I think it's very important to understand the offering itself. Obviously, we make it as easy as possible, so it doesn't really require much resources, but you need to have somebody that is willing, to go ahead, take those insights into consideration, and then act upon it. Usually, once you start, you understand the power of it, and then, exponentially you grow quite fast. But that collaboration, that partnership is very important.
So does it happen very often then that actually you need to tell this marketing department, look, we've done this wonderful segmentation for you. Can't you actually be a little creative in your marketing messages?
I wouldn't say it happens a lot, but it could definitely be that, initially you have to nudge people a bit, but that's also, where we come in and we have to provide them with the interesting insights, right? That is specifically also our job.
So you might inspire your customers a bit to put out the right messages.
Also show them, here's an insight that you were not aware of. You did not know that this group existed. This is the best way to communicate with them. So, like you said, inspire them to act upon it, and then from there, you just keep asking more and more questions, become more granular, and so forth.
Okay. This sounds a little bit like customer relationship management, doesn't it? You don't use the word at all in Optimove, but this is just a part of CRM, isn't it?
It definitely could be, it depends how you look at it. Yeah. But the idea is it's a very smart way to manage your customers.
Okay.
It's, the personalization is key here. It's a strong relationship we want to build for each of our brands with their customers.
Good. Okay, fine. Anselmo, you've explained your business at Expedia Partner Solutions very well. And how do you make use of machine learning and artificial intelligence in your particular business? Because yours is a B2B business, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is, just from that perspective, is challenging, right? Again, machine learning...
So just to put this in context, sorry to butt in, how many partners or customers might Expedia Partner Solutions have?
We have more than 10,000 partners currently, so worldwide.
Okay. So you've got lots to work with.
There are lots to work with.
Okay.
Because of the size of and the diversity and the location of our partners, that for itself is a machine learning problem. So the machine learning is quite vital for us to do things at scale. So the way we and I think the secret here is in terms of travel industries, we all want to put the right property for the right customer on the right time. That's kind of the end goal.
That's the ideal.
That's the ideal. And to do this at scale, machine learning is kind of our technology that we use. I think the original question was, what are the use cases?
How do you use machine learning?
The way we use.
So are you using it to help your partners do a better job of selling?
Absolutely. Okay. So is how do we put, if we don't have a customer, our challenge is how do we put the right properties for our partners, for different partners, that's so they can put it for their customers. The way you do this is, so there are kind of very different factors here, or different vectors that we can use machine learning. I think the main one is sorting, right? Making sure you put the hotel that makes more sense for that type of partner. Think about partners, they have a mobile app. Other ones, they have a different points of sales in Australia or in US. All of them are different, right? So making sure you have the right sort for the right partner, for the right point of sale, for the right geography, it's critical, right? And this is, again, I'll keep repeating myself, this is a machine learning problem, right?
Okay.
And I think there are other use cases that we use. Recommendation, absolutely. So apart from sorting properties or activities or flights, is also if you don't want these, you may recommend another ones. So a follow-up in terms of the initial recommendation. The third one, I'll say that, and I'll see these happen even more, is applying machine learning internally in our systems. So almost the democratization of this type of technologies, even to run the business. So in terms of financial forecasts, anomaly detection, we do that a lot. So especially on anomaly detection, we want to know, and we want to help our partners when something goes wrong. We are the first ones to tell them that we see something changing in the business.
Give me an example of that.
I'll give an example, like if a good example is if we have a partner in China that suddenly they stop to sell for the New York market, or if it went down, what is the trigger of that? So first thing, imagine a partner selling for thousands of locations. How do we track this, right? And how can we track on a good way? How can we know and tell in advance that there's a trend changing? So that's kind of a very good example. And not only when things go down, but also when things go up. So having that knowledge and be the first to know is critical for our business to react quickly. There is also, in terms of, when we talk about sorting, we also talk about images, we talk also about reviews, and having the right images and having the right reviews and having the right content is also critical. So in terms of images, we have more than 2 million images, our own images from hotels and also from our users or customers, and how do we sort those images?
And so you're using machine learning to help you better sort those?
To sort them, to classify and make sure that we have the hero image is actually the one that is more effective in terms of that the users, they feel motivated to book or proceed with the transaction.
Right. But you're, unlike Roni, you're not actually using customer data, end-user customer data, are you?
No, we are not using end-user customer data.
No, because they're not your customers.
Because they are not my customers.
That's right. So don't you feel then that your use of machine learning and AI is necessarily a bit limited in what you can do?
Yes, I would say it's a little bit more challenging.
More challenging, I like that word.
And that means that we have less signals to drive what we want to optimize. But we still have signals, right? And there are signals in terms, especially on the images. I'm sure you always have been into a situation where you went to book something and the hero image for that location, that property actually was toilet or a not a fantastic view of that hotel. So having a way to classify 2 million of images and doing this at scale for all the partners for all around the world is fundamental.
Okay. Just to put it in context, the amount of data that you're actually playing with. How many hotel room nights are you booking a year at Expedia Partner Solutions?
I don't know the number in my head.
Okay.
I can tell you that we are...
Millions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Millions.
I can tell you that our gross numbers for next year will be around 8 billion in terms of gross bookings.
Billion?
Billion, yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's a big number.
It's a big number, yeah.
Okay, fine. Roni, we've got a question here for you. How important is the amount and quality of client data in order for you to make the most of it? So are there businesses that you have a look at their customer database, you say, you've got no data here, there's nothing we can do, it's all free text anyway, there's nothing we can analyze. Perhaps you can amplify on that a bit.
Sure. So I'll start off with the quality aspect of it. Obviously, we need to make sure that the quality of our data is, it's very valid and it's high quality data. Like I said, we're going to be running analysis and coming into, getting conclusions off of this data. If this data does not have good quality, if there are certain mistakes and misleads within that data, the conclusions we might find are just not going to be accurate. So we want to make sure the data that we have is valid, that there are no discrepancies. They say garbage in, garbage out. We want to make sure that everything we receive is things that we can rely on. In terms of the amount, there isn't, I would say, a minimum there. Obviously, the more data, the better for us. But in terms of, let's say, looking at the amount of transactional data we would like to receive back, a few months, a year as a minimum, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, looking a few years back can also be very beneficial. In terms of the amount of customer traffic, a minimum of, 1,000 customers, active customers, that's enough for us to start building a model with. And we're always surprised by how much we can actually receive from a very minimal data set.
Okay.
But I will add that, as we keep on growing, once you start off building the model constantly adapts. And as we get more and more data, it keeps on learning, it updates its predictions, it finds more customer groups. So it's, that's the minimum of, what I said to start off with, but we constantly grow more and more as we get more data from our partners.
Okay, and while we're with you, Roni, maybe you can explain how a specific case study that where you created various customer, you call them personas, didn't you?
Yeah.
I might have called them segments, but I've seen persona analysis where you actually, and I don't know if you do this, but you can amplify where you actually say, right, here's our customer database, and you try and actually come up with an individual who represents a particular segment. So here's a lady sitting on a beach in a deck chair drinking a cocktail, for example. That's one of my segments. Are you working on personas like that, or? Exactly
like that. Now, there isn't only one lady on the beach, there are a few ladies on the beach, right? So we're going to have a few of them, they're going to be able to separate them, the ones that are drinking a cocktail and the ones that are drinking a Coke, and being very specific with those personas. Okay, so can you give some examples, as per that question, of personas you've created? Sure. So one, I would guess, a big pain point that we have with a lot of our clients is the one-timer persona, right? It's always a really big pain point. That's where we really try to help our customers, first of all, understand, looking at all their new customers, who has the highest potential of being a one-timer, and who do we think is more likely to go ahead and naturally become a second-time buyer, buy that second, book that second trip, make that second vacation with our brand. And what we try to do is, first of all, help our clients focus on who is a potential one-timer, so now that they need our help a bit more to push them to go ahead and make that second transaction, but also based on what we learn on the customers that do go ahead and make that second transaction, we try to understand what are they like, compare their first and second transaction, and with that information, know what might be the right message at the right time through which medium to talk to our one-timer potentials, and then by that really increase the conversion from one-timers to second-time buyers. Okay. Yeah.
So can you mention some personas you've created? Or can you mention how you've managed to increase the number of transactions in a segment?
Sure. So I don't want to go into very specific examples, obviously.
You can. It's okay.
But the main thing that we need to understand is, we try to take different features based on what we see in our customers' database, right? So if we're talking about our one-timers, we want to look at that first transactions. What features can I get from that first transactions? The volume, was it only, did we only book a flight, or was it a flight or hotel? Different aspects of that first transaction. Based on that, how can we correlate that into, those one-timer potentials? Now, the results here can also be very different based on, the brands themselves. For one brand, this persona has a higher one-timer potential, and for a different brand, it might be different. The same analysis we'll do for each one of our brands. We have an idea of what we're going to want to look for, and then we'll present that to the specific brand, and then say, in your case, this is the persona who has a higher potential to be a one-timer. This is the persona that will go ahead and make that second purchase.
Okay. And Anselmo, I guess that the whole point of machine learning, unlike any kind of old-fashioned segmentation, is it's always learning. It's always improving.
Yeah.
What do you think might happen the next 2 or 3 years with machine learning and artificial intelligence? Are we at a level playing field where we've got the technology and it's going to improve our learnings, but the technology is not changing very much? Any thoughts on that?
Many thoughts on that, but I don't have a magic ball to. But the sense and the signals I'm getting actually from the industry is that everything will be much easier. I think much easier. Much easier, yeah. So I also used to say that it takes a village to put a model in production, or to put machine learning in production or online systems. It implies a lot of effort from different parts, from building models, developing models, getting the right data, and deploying them, like the right formats of models. So there's, if you think about the number of tools we have, it's still not normalized. There's always new things coming.
Okay.
When we start to develop new things, what will happen is you want to try all of them, right? So that's a waste of time and a waste of effort. So if things are simplified in terms of the right platforms to use, absolutely accelerate. But also, it will be easier to track those experiments. In machine learning, we use a lot of signals, a lot of parameters. We want to track them. We also want to make sure that deploying those models is much more simpler. But I would say by things being easier, we will be able to experiment more, to try more things, and that definitely will sparkle new ideas. So by being easier, things will be more democratized, more accessible, and will just allow us just to move forward much faster.
Okay. Roni, any thoughts on the data points you really need to create some good impact?
Sure. So I'll start with, I guess, the minimum data points that we need.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want to know all the transactions that a customer has made. And when I say transaction, I mean, the monetary transaction of what they're booking, when they've done it, how much time previous to the actual vacation or flight itself. So that as a minimum is something that we would need. And I'd say only just by that very basic transaction table, we can manipulate that in so many different ways to actually extract many relevant features to build, those unique customer personas. And then on top of that, the more the merrier. So their browsing activity, any feedback from our customers based on what their journey was like, that is also very beneficial to have. These are also help us understand, more loyal customer personas, understanding, these are customers that really help us make their experience better by giving us that feedback. So all that additional data can be very beneficial, but again, just that minimum, very basic transaction table, it's insane how much you can do with it and how you can just manipulate it in so many different ways.
Let's expand on that. I'm a tour operator, hypothetically. Mm-hmm. I've got a customer database, and I actually want to tap into my most regular best customers. So we can see them because we can see any customers, say with 3 or more bookings, and I've got their name and I've got their address. If I've got their name, I might know their gender, and maybe I have their date of birth held as well. So that's not a lot of data. What can you do with that?
So let's think about these customers that had more than 3 bookings.
Yes,
Even
okay.
though they've all had more than 3 bookings, they're still not all the same. One of them, all their 3 bookings were for the exact same destination. All right. So this is a customer we know what we should maybe offer his next. When we have a good offer for that next destination, we might want to offer it to that customer. Another customer also had more than 3 bookings, but they were to various locations and for a longer period of times. So just because these 2 customers have more than 3 bookings, just looking at these 3 bookings, where they were for, how long the vacation was, what was the difference in time between each one of those consecutive bookings can right away give you much more information about these customers that right away we would say they might be the same person because they've had between 3 to 5 bookings. So the idea is to really dig into that and see what more features you can extract from it.
But of course, what you're both saying, this is machine learning. So as we dig in, we're not stopping there. We're continuing to refine and improve and learn more. Okay.
And by the way,
yes.
That's something actually that probably on the next couple of years will be much easier, this continuous learning, because we don't want to develop a model, put in production, and coming later and doing the same 1 or 2 days. We want the model to continuously learning from new data that we are receiving.
Okay. So if we project forward, say 5 years now, where do you think we might be in terms of customer data and AI and machine learning? Will it be just sort of an everyday activity? Will there be new technologies coming along? Any thoughts, either of you? I'm just trying to think.
Yeah.
Maybe I should amplify that. I'm sure there's lots of us here who might be running travel companies, and of course we'll have a customer database. And let's change the question. We're not doing anything about it. We're not even doing any customer segmentation at all. Do you think those kind of companies will be losing out significantly in a few years' time?
Definitely.
It is, again, this is about reacting quickly, and you react with data to the market changes, right? It's those signals that allows you to react quickly. Machine learning, using it, allow us to react, to do that quickly, but also do that at scale. Even simple solutions, I think you will see on the next couple of years, things that currently are not applied, we are not applying machine learning, we'll start to apply machine learning to the simple things that we still do today.
Okay, fine. And you mentioned sort of quick and easy, didn't you, Anselmo? So Roni, just a last question with you. If I'm inspired as a travel company to say, you know what, I ought to give Optimove a go, and just see what happens. What's the typical project time from when a customer first approaches you? I can't ask you because you're B2B doing it for your own company. But Roni, perhaps you can explain that. So I'm excited. I'm a travel company. I've been inspired hearing what you've got to say, and I'll say, I'm interested in signing up.
Sure.
How long to get somewhere?
So I think I would say it's fairly quick from the point that we have the data. At around 6 weeks, that's after building, that customer segmentation model. We also, we bring the customer in based on, how we're going to build that model, all that insights that we find along the way. So hopefully that journey itself with the integration can also be very insightful, like you say, inspiring to the client that we're working with. But then, from the point that we have the data, then 6 weeks after that, you have a software that's up and running for you to start exploring your customers, start sending out campaigns, start testing them out, see which ones are working better than others. And then once we get more and more campaigns running, then again, having, that AI technology in the background to give you those valuable insights that we've talked about before.
Okay, so just to expand on that, you said from when we have the data, how long does it typically take for your clients to give you the data?
I would say an average from a day to 4 weeks. So it really does depend. I mean, some clients are just ready to go, and some, it takes them longer. But I would say a month at max.
Sorry, a final question after that. We're machine learning, so presumably you want to keep having feeds of new data all the time from there. Of course.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest challenges that we have today when we build data-driven products is we want to build a product or a solution that will adapt to our the changes in our customers' behavior. We don't want to spend a long time to build a solution that very much fits who our, what's happening in our database today, but then might be outdated in a few months or in a year or two. So we want to be able to build construct that system in a way that will always be relevant, that will change at the speed of the customer. And like you said, continuously get more and more data feeds and then learn and grow with the customers themselves.
Okay, lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, let's thank Anselmo and Roni very much for a great session. Thank you, guys. Thank you.